about to go down.
Burning your ears with another all-killer and no-filler episode of the best motorsports radio on the planet. It's the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. With your host, Jim Beaver.
Sliding trophy trucks, jumping razors, and dropping the mic at events across the country.
Amy Hood.
What's up, guys? I'm a professional fun haver, dirt bike rider, and monster truck driver.
With support from Polaris Razor, General Tire, Subaru, and Dirtfish. Hang on tight, strap in, and get ready to smoke some tires and lay some roost. Here's the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other. Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. A little late on the gun there, man. I missed my cue and I don't know. I don't do that very often. Tongue-tied now. But anyways, kicking off one hell of a show today. We are back. That is right. We didn't have a show last week. We do this week. Sorry about that. I was at Crandon, got back, had to go to Lucas Oil, had to do TV for Midwest Short Course League. It was a crazy week. So things kind of got backburnered. That means we're catching up this week. We got some awesome guests, kind of a recap show, talking about everything that's been going on the past couple of weeks and everything coming up this weekend. This is literally like one crazy catch-up show. Speaking of that, we got Chris Backcountry Brandt on the show. Love Chris Brandt. This dude, probably the best snowmobile rider on the planet. He's raced snowcross. He's done freestyle. He's done backcountry. He's got an insane social media following. This dude takes his sleds down to Chile. He's got his backcountry adventures, his factory Polaris snow guy. Always fun to catch up with Burandt. I split it up into two little segments, like 10 minutes apiece. This interview is like 45 minutes long. So if you want the full Burandt interview, you're going to have to go over to Project Action. But I got some highlights of it into the show today. We got Tiffany Stone. She's on air. She's recapping Midwest Short Course League with me in Crandon. And then we've got my good friend Lindsey Hayes from Destination Polaris. She's going to be talking Sand Sports Show this weekend and then the season of Destination Polaris so far and just all things Polaris Razor. So tons of fun to have her on. We're going to talk some IndyCar. We are going to talk some off-road. We got a lot to talk about. We're slam-packed for 2 hours here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. So hang tight. It is going to be one hell of a banger today on your favorite action motorsports radio show. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you, but you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered, packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for 15% 10% discount. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Been a crazy couple of weeks. Going to be a crazy week coming up, but did want to mention, just so you guys didn't think I forgot, and God knows I would never forget. But today, if you're listening in podcast form or in national syndication, you may not be listening on 9/11, but we're actually live on the internet on September 11th. So did want to say to, man, this is one of those. I remember 9/11 when I was in college, and I remember I had a roommate. And he came in. We lived in a house. It was like a 4-bedroom house, a bunch of us in there. And had a roommate come in and, comes in at, I think it was like 7 a.m. or something like that. And being college kids, we were probably a bit hungover at that point in time. He comes in and he literally beats the door down. Jimmy. It's like, what, man? What? And I'm like, I'm sleeping. Leave me alone. He's like, no, they blew up the Twin Towers. I'm like, who? What? He's like, oh, no. He's like, no, seriously, you got to come see this. I'm like, dude, I'm like, if you're just fooling with me, I'm like, I am so not going to be happy right now. Leave me alone. He's like, no. He's like, you have to get up. I promise you want to see this. Got out of bed, went to the living room where the TV was, and it was just like, holy crap. Immediately it was like you're on the phone to your family and, and anybody in New York and it was just like, are you seeing this? Is this for real? It was definitely it was scary, man. College, I think my classes that day were canceled. It was just, it's something that took your breath away. And one thing that I always say, the good that came out of that, and if you can say there was good that came out of it, it's kind of like the Olympics every 2 years, whether it be winter or summer. They alternate every 2 years. 9/11 brought our country together. And, this isn't a political show. I'm not going to get into politics or any of that. This is a racing show, But once in a while, something like this comes up. But, like, right now in our country, man, things are bananas. You got left, right, everybody out against each other, me versus you, and it shouldn't be that way. And 9/11, if you guys remember back, some of you listeners may have been really, really small and not even remember it, but most of us, I think, do. But, man, if you can remember back, we all came together. And, it was amazing the way that we came together as a country. And it was one, and it was we, and it was us. And, and I've long said that. We need to get past this me versus you stuff, and it needs to come we and us, and how do we fix these problems? And I think 9/11 brought us all together in a way. And I'm not saying everything that followed 9/11 was done properly or done the way it should be, but I think at that point in time, everyone made the collective decision that those were the right ways to go. And I think that's where our country needs to move back to, is us. We need to do things together. Whether it's right or wrong, we need to do it as a team, And that's just my feelings on it. 9/11 today. To all of our military and our first responders, active or not active, I seriously thank you from the bottom of my heart. I realize what you do, whether you're a firefighter, a police officer, a paramedic, You're in the Coast Guard, you're in the National Guard, you're in the Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, hell, even if you're in the new Space Force. Pun joke there, right? But seriously, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I know I've been allowed to chase the American dream and live the American dream, and the only reason I've been able to do that is because of the amazing people that we have, like you guys, that allow people like me to chase that dream. So thank you guys. And so we need to roll into talking about some Crandon and some other stuff, because it has been a wild couple of weeks, and I was up at Crandon, and I got to tell you, it was no shortage of fun. That is 100% for sure. If you've never been to Crandon, you need to make it. It's a bucket list. It is must go, must see, must participate. And I don't mean necessarily racing, but you must participate, right? You can't go to Crandon and not get involved. But this one specifically, everybody around it, I mean, I've been to like 3 Crandons now. This had to have been the biggest one I'd ever seen. Everybody there said it was the biggest one they'd ever seen. The racing, we're finally getting back to those epic fields of Pro 4s, of Pro Lights that we've wanted to see for years, right? There was a few notables missing, but I think next year, the 50th anniversary of Crandon, the roof is going to be blown off the damn thing. Like, seriously, it was so huge this year, but I think that next year is just going to be a little bit bigger. And it's just an amazing time, some great racing. I don't know how I can even say anymore. It was so awesome. I mean, to see the Deegans back there, Haley and Brian. I mean, Haley got to experience it for the first time. First time she'd been back behind the wheel of a short course truck in a while. You had Shelby Anderson jumped in a razor. I didn't even know Shelby was going back there. I knew she's working with Polaris now, but she jumped in a razor. She did really, really well. Ronnie and RJ, obviously Kyle LeDuc made his trip back there. But, there was so many celebrities hanging out. I mean, guys from Storage Wars. It's just local TV celebrities from Wisconsin area. I mean, obviously racing people that showed up. People that you didn't even expect to see just showed up just to watch and take it all in. I mean, Crandon is definitely something special. And sorry we didn't have an episode last week, to kind of recap. But congratulations to all the world champions. And you got to talk about CJ Greaves. And I know Tiffany Stone and I, we get into this. We're going to get into this even more in this interview coming up later on in this hour. But it was just by and large just an insane weekend of racing. And I don't know, we hyped Crandon up all year, and then here we are like a week or two removed from Crandon, and I'm already hyping the damn thing up again for next year. I guess if you take one thing away from all this rambling about Crandon, it's like, book your plane ticket now, plan on the time off, ask for it from your boss, just go. And take the whole family. It is that freaking special. So, Crandon was going on, and not only did we have Crandon, we got this crazy IndyCar battle that I'm going to get into in the next segment here. But I do have to say, I've teamed up with my friends James Hinchcliffe and Alexander Rossi. They've both been guests on this show. Obviously, both race in IndyCar. And they're both reality TV stars. But you know what? They have their own podcast. And, while both of them are race car drivers, it's not a racing podcast. It focuses on pop culture, sports in general. Both of them are active in the Verizon IndyCar Championship, but their podcast takes you with them through the whirlwind schedule, including all the updates on the races. Off Track's hosts, it's the podcast name, Off Track. They have a unique experience climbing their way to the upper echelons of open-wheel racing, and through that, they bring a perspective that no one else can. Both guys have experience with reality TV, Dancing with the Stars, Amazing Race, Celebrity Family Feud, so they're able to bring a unique view into that world as well. Guests on the show are other top performers in all industries, including John Green, Pat McAfee, Tony Stewart, Jeff Ross. Listen to Off Track today on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. I'll be talking about the Off Track podcast with Hinch and Rossi quite a bit in the next couple of weeks here. So, I've had both of them as guests. podcast. We talked about it with Alexander, I think last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago when he was on the show. But definitely hit that podcast up. It is good stuff. If you like this show, you're going to like that one even more. I hate to say that, right? But it's that good. I only have time to listen to a handful of podcasts. Off Track with Hinch and Rossi is definitely on the list of stuff that I listen to regularly. So check it out, especially now, man. We got that crazy IndyCar battle happening, going down to the wire. And we're going to talk about that in this next segment coming up. And IndyCar, you can't write a better championship story, that is for sure. And that is coming up here when we come back from break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by, that's it, Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance, or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Want the latest from Jim Beaver and Amy Hood? Follow at Jim Beaver 15 and at Amy Hood 71 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. And it is Jim Beaver here. Listen, if you're driving into town and you need auto parts, you're paying way too much. Ever since discovering my friends at GoParts.com, I'm saving a ton of money on parts. Believe me, I go through a lot of parts. You see my race cars, my pre-runners, my razors? Dude, lots of parts. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, Jim, they're online. How's the customer service? Well, I had the same concerns until I used them, and believe me when I tell you, the service is second to none. In fact, 9 out of 10 customers polled said that they would not only use GoParts again, but they'd also recommend GoParts to friends and family. Look, when you've been around for more than a decade, you know they're doing something right. GoParts, this is why we wrench. That's go-parts.com. Go-parts.com. Check them out. You'll be glad you did. And thank you, GoParts.com, for the support of the show. And, IndyCar, we got so much to talk about today. Crandon kind of talked on that. We're going to talk more on that with Tiffany Stone. We got crazy IndyCar news. Sand Sports show coming up this weekend. Don't forget, my Razor will be on display at the Sand Sports show. MotoShield Pro, our friends there at MotoShield Pro, they're crazy into this nanotechnology. They do some rad stuff. I'll have a Polaris Razor on display in their booth. My Project Unicorn Polaris Razor, actually Project Unicorn, with a few upgrades. Got some new wheels and tires on it, baby. Got those new Vision wheel. They're ones I helped develop. They're going to be on display there with MotoShield in that booth, so definitely check that out. And they're also, I think, like $10 of every purchase at MotoShield is going to our friends at Warfighter Made. So spend a little money there at MotoShield. Money's going to go, boom, direct back to our friends there at Warfighter Made. So, but yeah, Sand Sports show coming up. I know I'll talk about that with Lindsey Hayes. Yeah, it has definitely been a wild one in IndyCar. Just talked about Hinch and Rossi, in their podcast. But Alexander Rossi, man, he is in the hunt. He and Scott Dixon, Rossi, has narrowed the gap this last couple of races. And I got to tell you, it is tight. So Dixon right now going into this weekend at Sonoma has the lead. He's got, like 29 points, I think, over Rossi. Will Power's back there a few spots. He doesn't have a shot at this championship. So it's going down to Dixon and Rossi. Rossi needs to win, and we know the boy can win. Dixon, he's got to hope for some mechanicals or a little problem with Dixon. I don't know the over-under here and things like that. It's going to be a bit of an uphill battle when you're talking about Scott Dixon, who is widely regarded as the absolute best driver. One of the best drivers on the planet, literally. This dude could be in Formula One. He could be wherever. So, crazy battle. If you haven't been watching IndyCar at all this year, you want to watch this one. This is going to be a heck of a shootout there at Sonoma. I am so excited about this. So, if you're not an IndyCar fan, you need to be. Grand Prix of Sonoma this weekend. It is going to be on point, and you got the points battle with Dixon and Rossi. Big news: Dixon re-signing with Chip Ganassi for I guess the duration of his career. I don't know. He's been there for so dang long now. It doesn't even really matter. But we've been talking about, if you're in my group on Facebook, we've got it's Jim Beaver's Action Motorsports Discussion. There's like 800 members in the group. Lots of really good motorsport talk in there. But we've been talking about all kinds of crazy IndyCar, Formula One, Alonso storylines. So Fernando Alonso, you guys all know, he went and raced the Indy 500 last year, right? Had a great time. He's been wanting to go back. He made the announcement. Everybody's been rumoring McLaren's going to come to IndyCar. They're going to have a 2-car team fielded with Andretti, yada, yada, yada. And then McLaren goes, oh, no. We don't think so. There's just rumors, blah, 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 blah. The rumors still persist. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Then everybody goes, oh, Alonso, he's going to come with McLaren. He's going to be the driver. Oh, no. Alonso's staying put in Formula One. So fast forward now, those rumors are still swirling. Alonso goes, burp, brakes. I'm no longer going to do Formula One in 2019. Everybody goes, oh, wow, what's Alonso going to do? Is he going to come to IndyCar? And he goes, oh, no commitments, no nothing, not saying anything. And then all of a sudden, McLaren goes, oh, we still don't know. We're looking at all our options. Then all of a sudden, McLaren and Alonso test with Andretti. And it's like everybody's going. And then after the test, they go, oh, we're just having a good time, just having a good time, right? Like no commitments, no nothing. I've put myself out there and I said, look, Alonso's going to be in IndyCar. If it's not in 2019, it's going to be in 2020. McLaren, I don't know how, what, when, where, why they are going to be in IndyCar, but in some loose way, even if it's through Alonso like they were at the Indy 500, like they're going to be involved. Like the writing's on the wall, people. Like seriously, this deal is going to happen, and I don't see how it can't. It's just, I don't know. It's at this point, it's like you're a fool to bet against it happening, right? So that's been going on as well. So I don't know. IndyCar, it's been a wild one, silly season full effect right now. And then IndyCar drops their schedule, their 2019 schedule, and that has been interesting because, yes, they are adding a couple of amazing events. So Phoenix, which I hate, got cut. Now, I don't hate the event. I hate that it got cut. I understand why. It was crickets there. They did a crummy job of promoting it. Not IndyCar, but people in Phoenix, just saying. But they added Circuit of the Americas to the IndyCar schedule. This is the one, like, we've got a freaking Formula One track in the United States, and IndyCar, our premier open wheel series in the United States, isn't running on it. Like, what in the world is going on, people? Well, finally, 2019, we're going to get to see it happen. It should have happened a long time ago, and people are going bananas over this announcement. It's in the spring, too, so it's not going to be hot in Austin, Texas. Like, boom, count me in. Circuit of the Americas, March 24th. I am there for IndyCar. Bank on it. So I'm just saying, like, that should get you excited. IndyCar, Circuit of the Americas. Whew, that is going to be a wild race. So that was big news coming out of IndyCar. It looks like, they cut the ovals out a little bit. It looks like we're an oval down or something like that. I know the finale's there at Laguna Seca. But yeah, it's going to be a great 2019 for IndyCar, but we still got 2018 to finish up too. So yeah, it's definitely going to be. I don't know, a great weekend of racing. I mean, what do we got? We got IndyCar this weekend. We got NHRA. Got Sand Sports Show. Got Works. We got and then the following weekend we got Score. We haven't even talked about Score, but they're racing down there. They've got, I don't know what they're calling it, but it's basically run out of Tijuana. Tijuana, like Desert Challenge or something. I don't know. They call it like the 30th annual. Sorry, Roger Norman. You're not allowed to call that the 30th annual. There's no way. The race was in Laughlin. And then it moved to like El Centro, Placer City, and then it's moved to Rosarito Beach, and now to Tijuana. You can't move venues, not venues, I mean cities. You can't move cities and racetracks and still continue to have it. Like, it doesn't work. Like, it'd be like if they bulldozed the Daytona 500 and then said, oh, we're going to have the California Speedway in Fontana. We're just going to call that the Daytona 500, the 50th annual. It doesn't work that way. Come on, Roger Norman. I like you, man, but come on. You can't call this like the 30th annual Tijuana Desert Challenge. This is like year number 1 or 2, maybe. I'll give you a couple years there when it was run at Rosarito, but nah, man, this isn't like 30th annual. Don't work that way. Same thing with Snore. Everybody in off-road's got this deal where they've got like the 50th annual Snore 250. Sorry, doesn't work that way, Snore. Like, this is me putting I'm going to get all kinds of flack from the off-road community on this one, but like Snore's the same one. We got the oldest off-road race in the United States. No. You guys have had the Snore 250 when it was just run in Vegas and the surrounding area? Yes. You guys have run it in like Ridgecrest, Barstow. Like, it's been all over the place. You can't move different cities and still call it the 50th annual unless it's something like the Super Bowl where it just, like, it's known fact that it moves around. But I don't know. Like, I got mixed emotions on this deal. Like, I don't know. What's in the number if it moves? You know what I mean? Like, seriously. What's in the number? Like, what purpose does it do? Why don't I just start a new race and we're just going to call it the 50th something? Just, why not? Just call it the 50th. Everybody else is doing it. I don't know, man. Me venting, but yeah. So we got Score coming up, Glen Helen, and then we got the Phoenix race. Man, Midwest Short Course League wrapped up, but we still got a ton of Lucas. I don't know, Lucas West, is that what we're calling Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series? We still got a ton of that coming up. So should be a great weekend of racing. Well, and this weekend we got Sand Sports and Works happening at the same time in SoCal. So I know a lot of guys are going to be bouncing back and forth between the Works race and Sand Sports show. So should be a good time for sure. But speaking of good times, our friends at Mad Media, they have what is the Legends Rally, Sea to Sky in Baja this October. And it'll be a mixture of just some amazing off-road adventures through Baja. It's 400 miles, 3 days. Day 1 will begin in Estero Beach in Ensenada. Day 2 will be around Colonnade. Day 3 will be Mike's Sky Ranch. Amazing food, amazing, wine, beverages, drinks. Dude, if you haven't been on one of these rides with our friends at Mad Media, you need to get in on it. They are amazing. So it's October 4th through the 8th, Legends Rally, Sea to Sky, 400 miles over 3 days. So this is literally open to anybody. If you got a UTV, if you want to go to Baja, you want to experience it, this is the way to do it, man. You got some of the best. I know McCachran's gone on these before. Larry Ragland has. They've got these amazing legends, that come out and they participate in these rallies. It's not a race. It's literally you just show up, bring your UTV, you get to drive around in a group, and, you get to enjoy Baja and, your Razors or your UTVs, and it's definitely a ton of fun. So get in on it. If you got the opportunity, if your beginning of October's open, you want to take your UTV down south of the border, have some great food, great drinks, great riding, and great friends and company. Definitely get it locked and loaded. Check them out. Mad Media's got it up. I know UTV Underground's got a ton of info on it as well. But the Legends Rally, it is definitely coming up. So mark your calendar for that one. And we are going to take a short commercial break. We come back. Tiffany Stone, she's going to be on the line with me. We're going to be talking Midwest Short Course League, Crandon, and the 2018 short course season in the Midwest. So that's coming up after the break when we return here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver joined here by my good friend and occasional partner in crime, Tiffany Stone. How is everything going, T-Stone?
Everything is going great. I'm a little sad knowing that the short course season's over, but then that kind of just opens up for desert. But I'm just still a little sad about it. It's come and it's gone, and now it's cold weather in Michigan, and I feel like it's going to be forever till next year.
Is it cold weather already in Michigan? Like Labor Day hits, and it's like, oh, yeah, summer's officially over. Let's bring on the cold to Michigan.
Well, last week it was fine, but yesterday the winds just started coming in, and when I went to the TV studio this morning, it was 56 degrees and cold and rain. So it's not like chilly, but we've been dealing with 90-degree heat in the Midwest during the whole season. So 56 is kind of chilly to me.
Yeah, you finally get a chance to actually be at home for once, and now the weather goes to hell. That's just the way it works, right?
Pretty much, but gives me time to wash off the Jeep. We kind of got it a little muddy when we went to Crandon last weekend.
Yeah, and for those of you listening, she laughs. We took the Jeep on the Ultra 4 course. Tiff grabs me and she's like, Jimmy, you want to go on the Ultra 4 course? I'm like, let's go, Tiff. And like all of a sudden we're taking her Jeep and we're bombing through the forest. And I won't say bombing because I know the Jeep people might be listening in. Like, no, she was very careful with your Jeep. But literally we were on an Ultra 4 course in the forest.
No, and it was awesome. I went out there and some guys were like, so Tiffany, heard you went out on the course. How was that? And I was like, honestly, it was amazing. And then, like we were talking, you and I, we went out there Sunday night, and that's after all the guys went through and after all the racing. And it was crazy just to see what they had to drive through exactly.
Yeah, and that was what's funny, and for those tuning in, they brought Ultra 4s the first time since I think like 2012 to Crandon or something like that. And so they ran the short course for the World Championship one day, but earlier on, and it wasn't live streamed, so you may not know about it, but they actually built an Ultra 4 course where they ran the short course and they went, it's like a 5-mile loop out into the forest. So like the people that were there at Crandon, the cars disappeared for like 5-6 minutes. They're out on this course in the forest through like a rock pile and mud holes and everything else, and then they came back. And so that's what Tiff's talking about. And I wanted to see because I'm announcing it, but I didn't know what the course looked like. That was actually a pretty rad course.
No, it was awesome. The only thing that we didn't do, Jim, that I kind of wish we did, but I didn't necessarily know if I could actually do it. I know the Jeep would totally be able to do it, but was the rock wall. Not really a wall, but it was like a rock climb up there. It was crazy.
It was gnarly. I looked at that and I'm like, man, this would have been the place to set up and watch, because it was like a miniature. I don't want to say a miniature KOH because that's kind of like, I don't know, kind of dumbing down King of the Hammers, but it was a legit rock wall. Let's put it that way.
It was, and I know that I was talking to some people, and during that, because they raced later on at night, so they, had lights out there and everything, but there was at least, a couple, maybe probably 500 fans in that little area that were watching that at that particular rock wall.
Dang, that's awesome. Yeah. All in all, though, I mean, Crandon, I know we had going back to June when you and I were there, it was just kind of, it was crap with all the rain and the mud, but I know we were expecting showers and we kind of dodged the bullet this weekend. Like, I mean, this was, for Midwest short course in Crandon, I mean, this was almost as good as it gets weather-wise, Tiff.
No, it was beautiful. There was clouds, and like you said, there was a little bit of breeze, so that helped keep out, the track a little dry if there was going to be any rain. But, I mean, I know you've seen this picture, though, Jim. It's the picture from June when we were there of CJ Green with all that mud on his face and his eyes are just bloodshot. Yeah. But we didn't have any of that. The weather was great, and it was perfect. The track held up. I mean, like you said, for September, Labor Day weekend, it's hit or miss. It could be rainy, cold, chilly. The weather held out and it was perfect, actually.
Yeah, it was. I would say, it was pretty close to as perfect as you can get. Speaking of CJ Greaves, we got to talk about that. I mean, talk about a statement by CJ. Like he walked in with a swagger, brings the Pro 2 out, and just dominates. That truck hadn't been on the track in over a year. Like, you want to talk about a statement right there with CJ Greaves. I mean, that kid, he had, that was a big move.
No, it was not a surprising move for CJ. I've been doing short course for the last 4 years. I've spent the last 4 Labor Days there for the Amsoil Cup, for the East versus West. And CJ, drives the Pro 2, drives the Pro 4, and has in the past. He's never, ever mentioned which one he's going to race. Some days, if he's racing in the Pro 2, I'll interview him at the podium. He's like, Tiffany, it's going to be a game time decision. And I think he really made the right decision by bringing out that Pro 2. But it also just goes to show what the Greaves camp can do, that the Greaves are dominating in short course, that they do have some of the best trucks out there with the Toyota backing and the TRD, and it's showing that, hey, we're going to bring out a Pro 2. We're going to run the best with some of the East and West Coast guys, and we're still going to come out on top.
Yeah, it was a big weekend for them. I mean, CJ, they had 2 Pro 4s, a Pro 2. I don't know how many UTVs. CJ won the UTV, I think World Championship, Pro 2 World Championship, like the Cup. I mean, this kid, and Johnny had a great season as well. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me how busy those guys are, and and how they're able to get it all together and then, and make stuff happen.
No, exactly. And what's kind of cool about the CJ Johnny thing is they're, they own their shop. They're not only drivers, but they're working on the Yamahas. They're working on the trucks as well. And, I know that CJ, every Yamaha that comes out of the Greaves camp, CJ has either wrenched on or looked at or had something to do. He looks at every single one. And that goes to show you why people like Kyle Greaves is doing so well too, because they're learning from some of the best drivers. And if you're learning from CJ Greaves on how to drive a Yamaha and just dominate, I mean, you kind of already have a one-up. And if you're a cousin of CJ Greaves, I think you just have that racing blood in your family. And I mean, there's nothing that guy can't drive.
No, it's insane to watch him and what he's been able to accomplish. It's just, I don't know, and he's so young yet. You want to talk about legends. I hate to call a kid like that a legend, but 10, 15, 20 years from now, holy crap, what is his resume going to look like, No,
I mean, exactly. And I know he does some things in the off season, and he works obviously really closely with Toyota. I've always asked him if we were going to get him in some asphalt things, NASCAR and all that. But I feel like he just likes the dirt, which is awesome. And then, you have the West Coast guys coming out and just seeing the drive styles and just how different it is. But it was such a cool East Coast, West Coast thing that happened this weekend, too, with Brian Deegan coming out, Kurt LeDuc coming out, Bryce Menzies. That was awesome to see. But it's so cool, just the overall everything, and see how CJ drives against them and shows, what he can do in a Pro 2.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's been exciting to watch for sure. That being said, I mean, overall, this whole Midwest short course season, Tiff, I mean, this was one of those years we got to talk about this was kind of an unknown, you know what I mean, at the beginning of the year with the tracks kind of banding together. Lucas came in at the last minute, put this together. I got to say, all in all, this was a win-win. I mean, I know Pro 4 and Pro Light were a little light, you know what I mean, throughout the year. We saw some big entry lists there at Crandon, but overall, I got to say, this is I'm excited about 2019 for sure after what we saw with the Midwest Short Course League in 2018.
Oh, no, I'm super excited to see that. And I think, with it opening up and possibility of everything coming together, if they changed a few rules here and there, I think that the series could get bigger and bigger, where some of those West Coast guys want to come out here and try to do a full season on everything. Because, Lucas is pretty smart. If they do make everything happen, I highly doubt they'll have a Lore's Midwest race day on the same exact day. And that gives guys who won Pro 2 before, like Luke Johnson. I know Luke, took the season out. He really wanted to focus on desert, especially what was happening, how everything came to fruition last minute. But I've been reading up on Luke's posts and stuff, and he said, I'm coming back to short course. We're making Pro 2. I mean, he started on the whole, let's make Pro 2 great again. And that's kind of between him and Keegan Kincaid, they made Pro 2 great again, and it's good to be able to see Luke Johnson come back next season and kind of go back to short course and seeing where he really, he feels at home there, I think.
Yeah, well, and you're talking about Keegan, here's another guy. He started out, kind of stumbled out of the gate with his brand new truck and had a really tough break there at ERX, but I got to tell you, if I'm a Pro 2 driver looking at 2019, Keegan Kincaid's the guy I'm worried about.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Keegan's starting to get everything. I know that they had some issues like we were talking about, and he's just been dominating, and throughout the season it's just been getting better and better. And then his wife Catherine, they're pregnant with twin boys now, And so I think that's awesome because Keegan's just going to have Catherine and Caden, the new twin boys. He's just going to have a shop, and he's just going to have a team already set to go. And I think that's going to be awesome. Another guy, too, Andrew Carlson's coming up, and he just had his baby the day after Crandon, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
So.
I don't know, just wild looking at, what's to come in 2019 for short course. Like we said before, big year. What's to come for us, though? I know you and I are going to be doing some radio at SEMA. What's, together with Vision Wheel, but what's up next for you, this off-season? I guess off-season, I don't know. I know you're busy doing some mainstream media type of stuff. I mean, what's next for you?
Well, I do have some things going on. Everybody knows that I'm building the Jeep, so you can check it out on my Instagram or Facebook. So we're building up the Jeep. I'm just about to put some new prototype front and rear bumpers on there, some lights. And then in about a month, right before SEMA, some things are happening. I haven't really released what's going on. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm about to do is going to be exciting, so people just got to stay tuned to it. But what I'm about to do is like a not once in a lifetime. Yeah, I would say, to be able to go do this is going to be exciting. And I cannot wait to meet back up with you at SEMA and just talk about how much fun this was. And, of course, I'll be sharing pictures and photos and videos and everything. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, SEMA is going to be a blast. I think top to bottom, man. I'm super excited about SEMA and what you got going on. I know we're going to have some stuff we're going to be posting on the website as well, in regards to you and that. And I don't know, you and I have been talking about doing a little bit more radio and stuff together. So I don't know, I'm excited for the rest of this year and what's to come in 2019. It's going to be a fun ride, T-Stone.
I'm so excited for that. If we could do some more radio. Do you think maybe what we should do is we should have each time a T-Stone rules to follow or T-Stone rules to live by, and we'll just come up with a segment, and that's going to be like the idea for the show. But I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, T-Stone rules to live by. I know my favorite one, and it hasn't even been official. It hadn't even made your Instagram yet. It's T-Stone rules to live by. Always carry a knife. And I can't even remember why that came up, but I just know that that's my favorite one, even though it's not official yet.
I think it was because we were at ERX and we needed to cut something or we needed to. And then one of the guys, the audio guys, actually had a knife. And we're like, that should be a rule. T-Stone always carry a knife because you never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah, well, sometimes you never know. I mean, certain areas of Detroit, same way in Arizona, like you always want to have a knife, right? Just saying.
Yeah, the difference is for me, though, it would be like to help me against maybe, Detroit's not that bad, but yours would be like to protect you against a mountain lion or something that's happening in Arizona and Parker.
Yeah, rabid coyotes or something, right?
Which reminds me, before we go, I am so happy that I got to meet the mayor of Parker, a.k.a. your dad. That was awesome.
You know what's funny? Literally, he is already booked. Like, regardless of whether I got a job with Lucas next year, we're going back to Crandon. Like, Dad's like, it is on. Like, he had so much fun. I can't even explain it. Like, he was a kid in a candy store again, got to see all his old race buddies, and, like, he got to ride in the pace truck. Like, I mean, how much fun is that? That's so rad. Like, he's so pumped to go back.
That's awesome. No, yeah, your dad was awesome. And just like our little dinner, too, he just, if you just want to squeeze him and just be like, you just make me smile so much.
Gosh, you get him with Rhett and Todd from Vision, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, too much fun.
Yeah, they're great guys.
Yeah, can't wait for the next one, but always fun catching up, Tiffany. Take care, and we'll definitely chat soon.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
And we are back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver here, just wrapping up with Tiffany Stone, a.k.a. T-Stone. Very, very good friend of mine. You've heard her on the show before and worked together in Lucas Oil Midwest Short Course League. And I don't know, she was out at the Mint 400 with me doing radio. Vision Wheels, she's sponsored by them as well. So she's got some rad stuff. Always fun catching up with her. And I got to tell you, we did have a blast in Crandon for sure. No doubt about it. It was definitely a good time there at the big house. But yeah, it was. It's been a wild couple of weeks. If you've missed this show last week, the one thing I can say is we have been knocking it out of the park on Project Action. So it's kind of been picking up the slack for that episode we missed last week. Chris Backcountry Burandt had him on for a 45-minute interview on Project Action. We're going to air bits and pieces of that here in hour number 2 on this show. You don't want to miss that interview. Really, really good stuff. Talk about his career, transitioning as you get older, having a backup plan, sponsorship, basically taking gold medals at X Games, transitioning from racing, transitioning to freestyle, transitioning to backcountry. Just really, really good stuff, and I think you guys are going to enjoy that. So check that out. Project Action on Podcast 1 drops on Thursdays. You can subscribe to that on iTunes, as well as this show, man. It helps me out a ton. I don't think you guys realize how much. If you go to iTunes, you hit that subscribe button and leave a review and a rating. And if you don't have the time to leave a review, just leave a rating, 1 through 5 stars, man. It's easy. Just click the button. But if you do have the time to leave a review, you leave your Twitter, Instagram at username. I'll see that in the review. I will follow you back on social media. So thank you guys to continued support on iTunes and on the podcast front, and for supporting Project Action. We're going to take a short break. We come back. We're going to preview hour number 2 and roll into Chris Brandt here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the hour number 2. Yeah, it was a total tongue twister. The Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor, hour number 2. We're going to roll in this hour. We got a couple of 10-minute segments from my 45-minute long interview with Chris Backcountry Burandt. We're going to be airing those here coming up shortly. And then we've got Lindsey Hayes with Destination Polaris. Our friends at Destination Polaris on Fox, they do some amazing rides. If you like UTV stuff, obviously you've probably watched that on Fox Sports. And if you haven't, man, you're missing out. Good stuff, and definitely follow their social media accounts. Lindsey, she's rad, man. I mean, not only is she UTV, she's a hunter. Like, she's all over the outdoor space. Just fun to keep up with their adventures. And it's funny, she's a good friend of mine, and I travel so much, she travels so much. I think we see each other maybe a couple times a year at Polaris events, and then maybe at Sand Sports Show, because it's just like we crisscross the country all the time. And part of the Razor family, though, and it's always fun when you get to catch up with the Razor family. So that interview coming up later this hour, and it's really, really long. I was only able to grab about 15 minutes of it to fit into this show, so I think we're going to air the whole thing uncut in Project Action this week on Podcast One. So I definitely want to look forward to that dropping this Thursday. And I think, also coming up on Project Action, my boy BC Vaught. You guys remember the band Head PE from the 2000s? I mean, one of the biggest bands of the 2000s. He was a drummer for Head PE. He's also now an action sports agent for like Colton Moore and some others. But I think I'm going to catch up with BC Vaught pretty soon on Project Action as well. So definitely looking forward to that interview. And I know another one too. Actor Kurt Yeager used to be X Games BMX rider. Now he's transitioned into acting. His interview we did on Project Action did really, really good a couple years or so ago. I think I'm going to catch back up with him as well. So good stuff coming on Project Action. But yeah, so hour number 2, Chris Brandt, Lindsey Hayes, a whole lot more coming at you. Definitely going to be a ton of fun. That is for sure. Also did want to mention, I've got a new email, like weekly newsletter, and then I'm also going to do a daily newsletter that's off-road only. The weekly newsletter is about all the content on Down and Dirty Show and news and breaking news. The other one's going to be a daily, and it's just motorsports, or it's just going to be off-road and power sports news. If you want to subscribe to those, shoot me a DM on social media or use my website. And I believe there is a subscribe button there somewhere. But shoot me a DM on social media and say, hey, I want to be on the list. And boom, I will add just give me your email address. I'll add you to the list. But it's going to be good stuff. So we're going to take a short break. We come back. Chris Brandt here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the two-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Getting ready to roll into one of those rad segments with my friend Chris Brandt from Project Action. So if you want this full interview, next 2 segments are going to be bits of that interview, about 10 minutes long apiece. But if you want that full interview, head over to Project Action. Subscribe on iTunes. You can get this full 45-minute interview with Chris Brandt. But here is the start of that interview with Mr. Chris Brandt. All right, I'd like to welcome Chris Brandt to the show. I think this is going to be a special interview. I think we're going to throw this up on the podcast and the national radio show, Chris. So lots of fun to finally catch up with you, man.
Well, no kidding. Between you and I, we definitely have some busy schedules, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the last time we saw each other in person might have been like Heydays a couple of years ago maybe or something. I'm just trying to think back. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, it really has, and we're getting ready to head off to Heydays. I leave tomorrow. Last time we were hanging out, we were wrecking razors and rolling stuff together, and it's always a good time,
Yeah, Terracross. It was pretty exciting. It took me like 3 years to figure that out, and I finally figured it out, man. It was like last year I was like, finally, all right, I've got this figured out. But it took me a while, man. I think my parts bill there for a while was pretty deep.
Yeah, that's the one thing about a razor is it's all good when things are good, but when it goes bad, it can get pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I guess, too, like, I don't know, it's a little bit different concept, right? I've got a cage around me or we've got cages around me. You with a snowmobile, I mean, you know there's a big hit coming. Like, I mean, you want to get as far away from that thing as you can, right? I mean, with this razor, you want to tuck in and hang on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, thankfully we have a couple things going for us. One, we're riding in the snow, which when people say, "Oh, snow is soft," snow can be pretty firm. Back in my freestyle days, I we were jumping on some ice, rock hard landings, and I remember thinking to myself, these people will think we're just landing on this fluffy snow all the time. That is not always the case. But for my gig now, being able to ride in the backcountry, thankfully it's a lot easier on equipment and my body than what I had in the past.
Yeah, well, and I want to talk about that, too. We got a lot to talk about here, but I want to kind of talk about that transition. I mean, dude, because, you started out snowmobile racing, right, at a young age, and then you jumped into, the freestyle stuff. I mean, how was that transition for you? Because, you'd spent so much time. There's some intensity with racing and then freestyle and the adrenaline, and then backcountry, you get that, but it's different. How did that whole transition for you and your career happen?
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy ride. As a kid growing up, I got introduced through my parents and my grandparents to snowmobiling, and at an early age, I knew that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a snowmobiler. The problem was that wasn't a career. That wasn't a career path. You can't just, so when the teachers would ask you, so what, Mr. Burandt, what do you plan on being when you grow up? Well, I'm not going to be a firefighter or a policeman. I'm going to be a snowmobiler. And, I don't know how many times people laughed at me, but, and so, starting off, back in the day, really the only thing that people were able to make income at on a professional side of things, snowmobiling wise, was racing. And so, that's kind of, that was the direction I went. And I quickly found out that, racing doesn't make you money unless you're, the Tucker Hibberts or Blair Morgans of the world. But, what it did teach me is, that, I did have a passion for jumping, and in snowcross, I was really good at the jumps, not so good at the racing part. But it led me into my next transition of freestyle.
Yeah, well, and then freestyle. You came in, and well, I guess you and Levi both were, right. I know you guys are good friends too, but you were kind of there in the infancy of freestyle. Like almost right place, right time. You guys kind of helped build that to where it's at now.
It really was the right place and the right time. Freestyle moto was just was huge at the time, and I have to thank X Games for really putting not only freestyle motocross but freestyle snowmobiling on the map, and it really did create a sport of its own and an industry of its own. And I was just very fortunate and lucky enough to be a part of that forefront of some of the OGs of freestyle. And but man, it's crazy. I look back and I think about just like all the stories. It'd be the same if you talk to Brian Deegan or Nate Adams or any of those guys who you stick your bike in the back of the truck and you're towing your ramp to the next demo, and we were getting paid $1,000, which didn't even cover gas money and hotel, and then on to the next one, and so, but it's what you're just living the lifestyle and doing what you needed to do to get your name out there, and then finally got our big break with the introduction of X Games Snowmobile Freestyle in 2007, which thankfully I survived, walked away, and won a gold medal from.
Yeah, well, and and how is that? X Games hits, and then it's like all of a sudden, like you get, like you said, you're scraping by. You were living the dream, but it wasn't like it was. I think a lot of people even now think action sports athletes, they all, get all this massive money rolling in, and dude, it's a grind. There's a few guys that are making a lot of money, but it's a every single day grind. X Games comes in, and that had to have been a big break. For you guys, like you talked about, the sport elevated, but it was like, hey, now we can actually go and have some real legit sponsorship income.
Exactly. And so for me, I could see the writing on the wall. Freestyle for me did not provide longevity, not only from a career standpoint, but from a body standpoint. The things that we were having to do and to put it all out on the line. And if you get hurt, then you don't get paid. That was pretty cutthroat in that industry. And, I really I look up to guys like Heath Frisbee who are still doing freestyle and demos and doing fairly well at it. But, it's definitely one of those high risk, high reward type jobs. And so really what X Games did for me was it gave me just enough capital to start my vision and my dream of what is now Burandt's Backcountry Adventure in our 11th year of being able to take people from all over the world out to backcountry snowmobile with me, and for me to show them my passion and what I love about this sport.
Yeah, and how did that transition happen? Because I know, even talking with Levi, and I know he's done some backcountry stuff with you, and he was saying, he's like, I think a lot of people think because you're a snowmobile guy, you can ride anything. And Levi's like, man, he's like, it's different. He's like, I'm used to tracks and hard packed and ramps and jumps, and he's like, I get into the backcountry, he's like, I feel like a rookie. I mean, how was that transition for you from all the jumping and racing and freestyle into the backcountry? I mean, how did the backcountry grab you, and you were like, man, this is where I need to be?
Well, I think that's really cool for you to say, and I've heard that multiple times, and especially from a guy like Levi, who Levi has a ton of skill on a snowcross track and freestyle and ramps and has great sled control and all that stuff, right? But where I grew up riding was backcountry riding, which again, like he's talking about, is completely different, where sled control and momentum and reading lines and all that stuff, that really equated well for me in, both the racing and freestyle side of things. And so for me to start off doing backcountry, it really just helped me progress as a freestyle rider even better. And then as I became a good freestyle rider, that made me even better as a backcountry rider, because when you're staring down a 100-foot gap with a ramp and a little teeny landing way the heck out there, and you do these things well and you don't die from them, it really gives you confidence and in your equipment and your abilities, and that's exactly what you need out in the backcountry. Is you need proper technique, you need confidence, and you need to be able to handle the situation. And so, for me to be able to spend as much time as I do out in the backcountry, that really, for me, helps me translate that into teaching for all the clients who come out here.
And that was Chris Brandt, part number 1, and we're going to roll into part number 2 when we come back from our commercial break. But I got to tell you, Chris Brandt never disappoints. Always fun catching up with him, and I think you're going to enjoy the second part of this interview when we come back from this commercial break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. In the middle of this amazing interview with Chris Backcountry Brandt, we're going to keep rolling with this thing. I think, man, it's just epic, right? And just got some breaking news as we were during the break. Something I've been sitting on a while. We'll definitely dissect this later on, probably not in this show, but next week. But our good friends at HCR Racing, they make the long travel suspension kits for Razors. They have been acquired by Daystar Products. So HCR Racing being acquired by Daystar, who makes a lot of lifts, Jeep stuff, things like that. So big news in the UTV industry, HCR Racing being sold to Daystar. So we'll talk more on that later on in the show. But right now, Chris Brandt, this is part of our interview from Project Action last week. Make sure and check out Project Action on Podcast One and subscribe on iTunes for the full Chris Brandt interview. Here's Chris Brandt. Well, and one thing I really like about your story too is and we can draw the parallels to Levi as well. But I've talked to a lot of action sports athletes and racers and things like that, and it's like, there comes a point where you're still highly capable, but you know what I mean? Like you said, you're not 23, 24, 25. Now you're in your mid-30s, and it's like, what's next? But you were smart enough to take some of that money, and you had a backup plan. Everybody wonders, like, the career ends and what's next. Well, you knew what was next, and you were smart enough to kind of plan for that, and now, you're still living the dream, right?
Yeah, well, I really am, but that was the scary part, right? Is so take this little bit of money that you won from X Games, and then just go 100% all in, and for us it was it started. Year one was actually my wife, and my mother-in-law. That was the Brandt's Backcountry Adventure staff, and there would be days that sometimes my wife would actually go out and run sweep and help guys get unstuck, and it was hilarious watching the guys' response, like, so she's gonna go with us today? I'm like, yeah, she'll be fine. And they definitely were eating crow when she was giving them ski poles, getting them unstuck. But to see the vision and to just, again, I mean, I get a lot of people ask me, how do you become a professional snowmobiler, or I'd like to pursue snowmobiling as a sport. And, it's tough because, I mean, I don't have a great answer for that. I mean, so let's look at my story. What did I do? Well, thankfully, I survived X Games. I won a little money. I put some money back into my business, committed in. I mean, I had to buy another house. I had to buy all new sleds, another truck. I mean, right? I mean, I just put it all out on the line and said, I hope this works. One thing that I think really a trend that is kind of scary these days is, people just put their hands out and just try to ask for things without working for it. And, that's one thing I've never been scared of was to work harder than the rest. And I think that's something that you can't teach either. And that's something that's somewhat lost in this day and age, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, and and that's funny because I get that same question with me a lot. It's like, hey, how do you do what you do? And I'm like, I honestly don't know what I do at this point. I can't tell you. I mean, I was doing TV yesterday. I'm doing podcast interviews today. Meanwhile, I'm working on a racing sponsorship proposal for a race in 4 months. And it's like, I don't know. It just somehow it all adds up. But I know, like you said, you just got to keep moving. You got to keep driving. And I don't think people, like you said, you risked it all at one point. You took that money that you had that you really could have used for other things and you put it on the line, and I don't think a lot of people realize that guys that make it like you. I mean, I know there was times with me where I was down to $50 in the bank account hoping something broke, and it did. But, it's like I think people lose sight of that. And I think that they think, oh, you're a professional snowmobiler. Guys just wave checkbooks in front of you,
Yeah. Well, I remember, it's funny, and I think a lot of guys in our position have the same stories, but I remember I bought a snowmobile on a credit card because I didn't have money, and back in those days, credit card checks were, it was real simple. It was stated income.
Yeah.
How much do you make? Oh, $50,000 a year. Perfect. Well, you have a $10,000 limit. I'm like, dude, that's a sled right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all what the stories and the things that happened in the past, it was all in that trying to work towards the goal and the dream. And I think that was one of the biggest things for me. When I won X Games, I actually had a full-time job with Arctic Cat. I was a district sales manager. This is kind of a funny story. One thing a lot of people didn't know, so I win X Games. I had to fly to a sales meeting Monday morning. So X Games was Sunday night. I take the medal and I drive straight from X Games to the Denver airport. So I get to Denver airport at 4 a.m., have a 6 a.m. flight, didn't even get to celebrate with anybody, got on the plane, went to my sales meeting. That job lasted a little bit longer, and I got a phone call from Slednex, and Hollywood contacted them and said, hey, we're looking for a couple athletes to do some stunt work on a Vin Diesel movie, and do you have anybody in mind? And Slednex called me, and they said, hey, would you be interested in doing this movie? You got to go to Sweden for a month. I put down the phone. I called Arctic Cat. I said, man, I love you guys and you've been great, but I'm out. And, just another one of those gambles where it was a life opportunity that I said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So.
Now, was that Triple X? Was the movie Triple X? I'm trying to think.
It was actually a movie called Babylon AD. It was a horrific movie, but the snowmobile scene was pretty good. So,
yeah. Well, I was trying to think. I'm like, how many Vin Diesel movies have been in the snow? And I'm like, well, Triple X, maybe this action sports one. Like, yeah, that's rad though, man. That is awesome. Yeah, well, nothing Sweden, man. You can't ask for much more than that, right?
Exactly. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, I want to catch up, though. I know you've been, I want to talk about, Chile, because it's almost like you got these guys in the summer, it's the endless summer. They're always in search of a wave, and they travel around the globe. Like, you're like the guy in search of the endless winter, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's, This is a pretty surreal deal. If you would have asked me 11 years ago, when again it was my wife and mother-in-law and me doing little dinky snowmobile tours out of a little dinky house, if we would have a full-blown facility here in Colorado, a partner up in BC that we use in December and April, and then we do tours down in South America in the summer in the Andes Mountains, I would just laugh at you and be like, well, that sounds like the perfect job. And so I guess I do have the perfect job. But yeah, I just got back from 3 weeks down in Chile. I work with a group down there, a great group of guys, and I actually met them. They came to a Burandt's Backcountry Adventure ride here in Colorado, and they were showing me some pictures of what their riding place was like at home, because they were snowheads like a lot of my clients are, and so they spent their summer to come up and enjoy some time in our winter. And for those of you guys who failed geography, down in South America, it's their winter when it's our summer. Just so you know. So I get that question a lot. How are you riding? It's like, well, they're south of the equator, so it's their winter. Oh, okay. Okay. But so anyway, met this group of guys, saw some pictures, and immediately said, I need to go check this out, and the rest has been history.
Yeah, well, I just see the videos and stuff like that. I mean, this is one of those things where, you're a snow guy, and like you said, you've seen Chile now and things like that. I mean, there's got to be other spots on the globe that you're eyeing. You're like, man, I would love to get a snowmobile there sometime and just go and ride, right?
Yeah, man, I have been so fortunate. During the freestyle days, I got to see a lot of places. I've been to Sweden and Norway and Italy and Russia and all these crazy cool places. But there is one place on my list that I need to go see, and it's Japan. And by the look of the terrain and the type of snow they have, one of these days I will get there. The hard thing is it's during my busy time here in Colorado. So I always say to people, when I retire, it'll be exciting to go ride because I'll get to go ride on my terms. And not saying that I don't have the best job, but I do. But there are definitely days when you miss riding with your buddies and or going on cool fun trips too.
Yeah, well, it's funny you talk about that in the places. I know, I was literally just looking at some stuff, and and this is just me brainstorming because I'm always coming up with crazy ideas. And I started looking at Antarctica, and they've got basically this miniature city built there certain times of the year and things like that. And I'm like, in summertime, there's still a ton of snow, and I'm like, it would be fun to take a couple snowmobiles and actually a couple razors too, because razors are so much fun in the snow depending on how deep it is. I was like, it'd be so much fun just to go to Antarctica for a week and just go and screw off, I think there's such a big story about that, just because how many people have actually done it.
You just saved me a spot on that boat, and we'll go make a story of it. That'd be some fun. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think the snowmobile razor combo up there would be pretty epic. It'd be sweet.
Yeah, we need to get Polaris on board here is what we need to do, right?
Hey, they're always looking for the next cool project. Yeah. I think we got one.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think we could get a ton of guys on board with that. So, but yeah, so you said what's next for you? Obviously, winter's coming. I guess Heydays is kind of the kickoff to winter, right? So you got some appearances there at Heydays, and then kind of start rolling into things, right?
Yeah, it's it's a crazy schedule. Now that this was our 5th year down in Chile doing tours there, and so there's a lot of logistics and stuff for that. So, but when you pile in a month of snowmobiling in the summer, and then we ride in Colorado until June, and then we start doing the trade shows and circuits in September with Heydays, and then October more trade shows, and then it's snowing. I mean, it truly is a year-long snow business for myself, and so we're about ready to start the vicious, crazy cycle all over again, and Heydays kicks it off this weekend.
And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver here, along with fellow Polaris RZR aficionado Lindsey Hayes from Destination Polaris. How's everything going, Lindsey?
Hi, Jim. Things are going well. Busy season for travel is upon us again for fall, so it's exciting.
Yeah, my summer was kind of bananas. I know your fall's going to get bananas. I do got to mention, though, I guess life is really good. You were at the Packers game yesterday, right? Yeah, I mean, that was
well, it was good for me.
Yeah.
It was really good for me. If you're a Packer fan, it was really good for you. If you're a Bears fan at that game, it was a tough night at Lambeau, but yeah, what a venue. I can't say enough about just sports fans in general. If you've never been to Lambeau Field, I don't care if you're a Packer fan or not. The atmosphere and the history of that place, I hope you could see it once in a lifetime. You have to try to get there.
You know what's funny? I've had to fly in and out of Green Bay twice in the past month. Once for Bark River and once for Crandon. So but every time flying in and out, like I get a chance to look at Lambeau. And then you land in Green Bay, and for people who haven't landed, they think, oh, NFL franchise, Green Bay's got to be huge. Green Bay is not huge. The airport is tiny. I'm like, it's crazy. Like, everybody in that area, I mean, within like a 3-hour radius, must show up at Lambeau for these games because I'm trying to figure out where the draw is. I mean, I get the draw of the Green Bay Packers, but, I mean, it's not like Green Bay's this massive city like the size of Chicago or something.
No, yeah, the party is brought to Green Bay. We when we were tailgating, I love that part of the atmosphere. You're walking around and finding out where everyone's from. And there were people from Texas, there were people from Alabama, and I'm like, wait, what? You're Packer fans all the way down there? So they drove all of those hours and then had tailgates set up. So the whole state of Wisconsin is up there, along with all the other diehards. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is wild. And it's funny. Like, everywhere you turn, there's Green Bay Packers. Like, every store, everything. It's wild. Like, I don't know. I know that it's not where we thought this interview was going, but I'm just like, I saw you at the Packers game, and I'm like, I so got to talk about this because I flew in for off-road racing, and it was literally like, I don't know, between Crandon and the 50,000 off-road fans, and they're all wearing like their off-road shirts, but they've got a Packer hat on, or they've got a Packer shirt and an off-road hat. Like, it's so funny because like, oh, there's two things in Wisconsin this summer, off-road and Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and Crandon, man, if you haven't been there, that's another one you got to get to there too.
Well, and speaking of that, I know Polaris RZR sponsored that weekend this year, and I was out there, and and I know I talked with all our friends there at Polaris in the marketing department, and they were doing a bunch of ride-alongs and things like that. And at the end of the weekend, like, they didn't really know what to expect. I think a couple of them have been there before, but I think it was new to a lot of them. And at the end of the weekend, it was all smiles on all their faces. They're like, we have to come back. Like, this is RZR country.
Yeah. Well, I always laugh because when I've talked to RJ Anderson, he talks so highly. When I tell him I'm from Wisconsin, he's like, oh, Crandon, and so even the draw out in California and out west of how much so many off-road racers just love to come and have that atmosphere there too.
Yeah, Shelby got behind the wheel this year at Crandon. She did really well, and I know she was just pumped on her first Crandon, being able to race in it. And, I don't know, it was just awesome to see just the whole Razor family. You know how it is when we get together an off-road event and this Razor family comes out of the woodwork, right?
That's right, and that's going to happen again this week too. So the Razor family is headed out to California, which is kind of exciting. So.
Yeah, I know you and I will both be at the Sand Sports Super Show, and it's funny because I can't remember who posted, but somebody posted. They go, "This thing was started as a Sand Sports Super Show. It's just become like the UTV Expo is what it's become because 90% of it is UTV, and Polaris Razor has a big part of it. But I mean, I know we ran into each other last year, but it's so huge. It almost takes you a couple days to see everything.
Yeah, and I mean, it starts Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, it does take a lot of time. And I mean, I was able to already talk to some of the different booths that are going to be out there and a lot of our show partners. And they've got some really awesome things at the show this year that it's I'm fired up and excited about. Polaris, I can't give away too much, but I do want to give away a little bit of a hint that people need to get to the Sand Sports Super Show if they are a Polaris Razor fan. There's some big things going on. They're going to have some show exclusives this year, and it's going to be an awesome week. I'm counting down the days until I even get to see what they've got going on at their booth. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, and that was another thing, and they had said they're like, you got to tell people about it, not tell them what it is, but they're like, you got to tell people. I mean, This is the first time in a couple of years I think Polaris they've always had a lot of athletes there and units on display, but corporate Polaris having a footprint at Sand Sports, first time in a couple of years, and they're doing it in a big way. So I mean, that was definitely a good segue there because I know Polaris definitely stopped by the Polaris booth. They have some big things planned for this weekend.
Yeah, and just some other ones, just for the partners that I think it would be cool if you're going to be out there. There's some really awesome giveaways that are going on. And then another thing that I don't know if you know as much about yet, but another big thing that Polaris is working on is called Polaris Adventures. So it's a new rental program that's going on nationwide with Polaris machines. So now for people who maybe don't own a machine, they want to go out and test out one of the brand new Razors and see if this is maybe a good fit for them and have a weekend getaway at a destination. They can go to certain Polaris Adventure locations across the country and rent a Razor and then ride the trails in these Polaris Adventure locations. They give you maps and they help you out and tell you the best places to ride right in those areas. And one of the new locations this year is at Pirate Cove Resort out by Lake Havasu. And so they've got 3,000 miles of trails, and so they're going to be on site, and I'm going to be out there kind of discussing a little bit more about Polaris Adventures because I think this is something that people getting into off-roading really love that to take advantage of. Hey, how can I just ride one of these machines to know if it's right for me? So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome. Well, and I know Sand Sports, too, one of our mutual partners, our good friends at Warfighter Made. One of my sponsors, Oliver Razor, in the booth at Moto Shield Pro, but a lot of people, we haven't made this formal announcement. I guess we are now, but we've teamed up with Warfighter Made. For every single purchase, $10 of it through Moto Shield Pro at the show, $10 of every purchase is going to go directly to Warfighter Made. So that's something given back to our good friends over there at Warfighter Made too. So lots of cool stuff going on at Sand Sports. I don't know, I see all the new product drops, and I've heard rumors of a bunch of stuff. I'm excited. I think anybody that likes UTVs, this is like Christmas time. Yeah,
and every one of the booths. I mean, I laugh because I think that I've been coming for a couple of years now, and just to watch Polaris builds kind of populate, and it's so crazy how many of the booths have a Polaris build as part of the, expo demo, and which is awesome. So, yeah. pretty fun.
Well, and this is like the first real trade show season with the new RS1 and Turbo S out. So, like, I feel like because they got, Turbo S kind of got launched in the spring, and you had the RS, it was kind of the tail end of winter. Like, we haven't had a true, like, season for these things yet. So I'm excited about this ride season, just seeing these crazy builds that we know are coming.
Yeah. And I think that that's the cool thing about it, too, is that, products launch, and then all of a sudden it's like, everyone these days needs to customize, and that's the best part of it, to make it yours. So then finally at the expo, I feel like people can really see, like, oh, these are the new products that I can put on, the machine. And they actually, all of the different vendors, I feel like finally have gotten caught up to be like, hey, I've got the accessories that you want for it. Like, I know that, I'm big into music on the trail. I need to be pumping up and jamming out if I'm going to be riding, especially if we're doing multiple days for the week. And so, like, I know that SSV Works has a new audio system that's for ride command vehicles. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I really am falling in love pretty quick with the ride command feature for Polaris and just all the different avenues now that I can attach my Bluetooth so I can listen to my playlist and then really having her crank with some good speakers and a sound system.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy, just the tech going into these things. But I got to put you on the spot, your playlist. What is your riding playlist? What's on your riding playlist? I know me, like it's a little bit of like Rob Zombie and White Zombie, maybe some Linkin Park. Like what is on Lindsey Hayes' playlist?
Well, it depends. I'm not going to lie. I am through and through a country girl at heart. And so I do love country music, but I also love anything that has a good beat that I can dance to.
Gotcha.
So I am very impartial about, country would probably, there's for sure going to be country on there. And then there's going to for sure be some even old school rock and roll.
Okay.
And, you kind of name it. I love music, and I'm not biased to just one genre, but it all depends on what kind of feel I'm going for. Like, are we going to be going fast and, it doesn't need to be kind of more some badass music, or is it country, just a joyride? It all depends,
See, for me, I love country music too, but I save that for around the campfire, like at Glamis when we're done. Like, to me, like if I'm going to go out and bomb razors, like we got to have some hard rock, maybe some 80s hair bands, but like I love country, but I save that for the campfire, hanging out in the evening. So that's just like, I feel you though with the country, so. So, all right, well, we got to talk real quick. We haven't even touched base on Destination Polaris. That's you and I. We go off down these crazy rabbit holes, and you never know where we're going. But Destination Polaris. I mean, I know we are right now in knee deep in kind of 2018. You guys are wrapping up this season. I know you guys were just in Quebec, and then we got 2019 and the 10th season that's coming up as well. So what's been going on in Destination Polaris world?
Well, yeah, it's been really exciting. We do 20 new shows a year, and so the last little bit of the new shows is airing right now on Fox Sports Networks. And you had mentioned a little bit about the Quebec Canada ride, but we basically, you can fly into Quebec City, and then it's about a 6-hour drive up to the Gaspésie Peninsula. So you have trail systems up into the mountains. You can have some of the best mud riding that I've done in a long time. And then you have trails that go out to along the coast where it's the St. Lawrence River that opens up into the North Atlantic Ocean. So we stayed at this place with like 5-star accommodations. I mean, amazing food, like 5-course meals every night. And then you get up in the morning and you just ride all day long. And their UTV Federation up there keeps those trails so well groomed and so well marked. There's no way you're getting lost, and you can kind of go and do whatever you want. I mean, we went moose watching and had some pretty cool interactions with moose pretty close. And then, we were riding razors right down along the water to see some lighthouses and spectacular views. So it was a pretty epic trip, and we were up there for a week.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love about razors is My Razor is taking me places that I never thought I'd go before. And because of the capability, you're able to see things and go places, that you just never thought possible. And I know, that's one thing I love about Destination Polaris is just seeing these amazing locations that you guys get to go to.
Yeah, and that's our goal through and through, is always, to come up with places that we hope that people get excited to go and explore themselves and get out there and do it. Like you had said, our 10th season, it's crazy. I haven't been along on the ride for all 10 years, but boy, the last 3.5 have been quite a ride for me, and so I've loved it. But we've got some really cool places that we think people will get excited about this fall. Like we're hoping, I don't know if I want to tell you where the big location is, but it's going to be somewhere exotic and amazing to start the season off. So I'm not going to give that one away because we're going to go big with the show number 1 of season 10. And then we've got Mammoth, we've got Minnesota, Montana. We're going out east. I want to explore more. There is actually 5 amazing trail systems over in the Appalachian Mountains. One of the, I think, most known is called the Pocahontas Trail. And so we're going to finally feature that. We haven't done that yet, and I've heard great things about that area over there. So I'm going to go explore that in October.
And that was Lindsey Hayes. We're going to air the rest of that in this week's Project Action on Podcast 1. We're going to take a short break. We come back, wrapping things up here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Wrapping things up, big shout out to Lindsey Hayes, Chris Brandt, Tiffany Stone, and all of you guys for listening in. Thank you for the continued support. I will be at Sand Sports Show this weekend, hanging out probably a little bit on Friday and some on Sunday. Probably going to miss Saturday, so make sure and hit me up. Let me know if you guys are going to be there. I would love to hear from you. Hit me up on social media. It's the easiest way, at JimBeaver15 on all forms of social media. Don't forget, we've got that Facebook group as well. And also got that second Instagram account at Down and Dirty Show. Make sure and go over to iTunes, subscribe to both the Down and Dirty Radio Show and Project Action. Leave a rating or review when you get a chance. And if you leave your Twitter, Instagram at username, I see those. I will follow you guys back. My promise to you. So, it's going to be a fun one. We got Sand Sports this weekend, that big IndyCar finale. Got some NHRA, Formula Drift. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I guess Works at Glen Helen, then we roll into Score and Baja, as well as some, the Lucas race at Glen Helen. So a lot of Glen Helen coming up the next couple of weeks. Big thanks to Polaris, Razor, General Tire, Subaru, Vision Wheel, Casey Highlights, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, Optimus, MotoShield Pro, GoParts.com, Blue Water Resort and Casino. Use that coupon code JBDirtfish. It'll give you 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School. Make sure and check us out on the web, downanddirtyshow.com, for all that content every single week. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Be safe. As always, game on.